Welcome back to the Strato Automation technical channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over the difference between dependent and independent VAV boxes. How to know which your box type is and how it pertains to Strato controllers, whether it's our BZ424 or our BZ122 VAV controllers. So first, in SLC, when you're setting things up, you'll notice in the very first box here for VAV setup and basic setup, you have to select whether it's dependent or independent. And you'll notice, so here, I think default is dependent, but when I switch it to independent, you'll notice this little flow meter here pop up to indicate that you have an independent VAV box. And what you would do is you would hook up your leads from this to your this high-low airflow meter here on the bottom of your, this is the 424, but they're in the same spot on the BZ122. But obviously, if you don't have this, if you have a dependent box, you wouldn't have that flow meter, so then you would hook nothing up to this airflow meter here. High side being the high side matching your box or your flow meter here, and the low side matching the low. On our controllers currently, the airflow meter here is not bidirectional, so you have to hook it up the correct way. So that's one spot that I see sometimes people have issues with. They just have this their lines backwards, and they just need to flip them, and then they start getting proper control from their controller. So as far as the difference between the two and how it pertains to our sequence of operation, everything like that, we've included in addition to our documentation here, this is currently page 11 on our BZ424 and BZ122 documents. So here it says VAVs without flow measurement are pressure dependent. VAVs with a flow measurement are pressure independent. The VAV box contains a flow measuring station. Like I showed you here, it could look something like this. So that's just how you tell, just by looking at your box or on your ductwork, is if you have this flow station. And all Strato VAV controllers are equipped with a pressure sensor labeled low and high, as I said earlier. And so as far as controlling how this is going to, control the temperature in your space, a pressure dependent box does not have that airflow measurement. So it's going to use the simple single temperature proportional and integral control loop to maintain that room temperature. So this is the simplest way to control, simplest VAV box. The damper will open and close to try to maintain that room temperature set point based on the incoming air temperature from your air handler. Now, the pressure independent box, a little more complicated. There's two different loops now kind of interacting. So you do have that flow measurement device now. So your low and your high tubes are connected up to your flow station, which is upstream of the box itself, using that built-in pressure sensor. Once again, we make sure you're hooking it up correctly so that you get the right measurement. Otherwise, it'll be backwards and your controller will be very confused. So like I said, using those two proportional integral loops, it maintains the room temperature. One is the temperature loop and the other is the incoming flow loop. The temperature loop drives the flow loop. This means that the temperature loop generates an output ranging from 0 to 100%, which is then converted to a 100% output to the min-max flow set point. So the min-max flow set point, which is set here when you have an independent box, these are no longer grayed out. And it's going to go based off of your min and max airflow set points. So you'll notice if I set this to dependent and I go to airflow, my K factor is grayed out. It won't let me change my duct area. So it's going to gray out these options, which is what would be taken into account for calculations based on this pressure independent control loop that we have set up. The flow loop then uses this flow set point to maintain the flow between minimum and maximum cooling flow and modulates damper position. This is known as a cascade arrangement. The room temperature is a master loop because the VAV's primary goal is to maintain a comfortable environment. This loop is what drives the flow loop. The flow loop is assisting the master loop in achieving its goal. As a result, the flow loop is known as a slave loop. So it's just a different way of controlling the temperature, whether or not you're going to be monitoring the incoming airflow, the amount of air that you're getting in here, or if you're just keen on keeping that temperature at a comfortable level around your set point here. But that's going to be all for this video. Check out some of our other videos that go over configurations as far as independent and dependent and setting up your inputs and outputs. Thank you for watching and have a great day.